All right, once again, last page. I'm going to make sure I write SOHCAHTOA at the top. And this is incorporating all of the lessons that you've learned so far in word problems. So we're going to, for each problem, label the drawing, write an equation, and then solve for whatever is missing. So let's look at the first one. It says a pedestrian sees the top of a building at an angle of elevation of 75 degrees. So if we remember this sketch from before, this right here is the angle of depression. And this right here is the angle of elevation. Now, it really doesn't matter whether you're given the angle of elevation or the angle of depression, because really it's going to be this bottom one that you're going to label angle, that you're going to label whatever degrees they give you. So if this right here said angle of elevation or angle of depression, I would still label this 75 degrees. Because if you remember, you have parallel lines and then you have alternate interior angles. So don't let the vocab confuse you. It doesn't matter. You will still, like I said, you whether it says angle of elevation or angle of depression, if I look here and this is my angle of depression, well, that's the same thing as this because of alternate interior angles. So that's just a thing to remember. All right, so anyways, we've got angle of elevation is 75 degrees. We've got she is standing 50 feet away from the base of the building. So she's 50 feet away from the building. And how high above her eye level is the top of the building to the nearest foot? So whenever you see something like top or tall, that's going to be the height of that triangle. So we have x that we're trying to solve for. And if we look over here, we have the opposite and we have the adjacent. So we're going to be using TOA. So tangent of 75 degrees equals x over 50. Put this over 1, cross multiply. So 50 tangent of 75 is what you'll be plugging into your calculator. And it does say to round to the nearest foot. So when you plug that in and you round, you'll get about, x is about 187 feet. All right, looking at the next one, it says students in a hang gliding class stand on top of a cliff that's 70 meters high. So high, tall, top. This is going to be the height of the triangle, so 70 meters. They watch a hang glider land on the beach below. The angle of depression from the top of the cliff to the hang glider on the beach below is 72 degrees. So this is 72 degrees, but that also means that this is 72 degrees. So that's what I mean by whether they say angle of depression or angle of elevation, you're still going to just make sure you label that that bottom 172 degrees because alternate interior angles would make them the same. And then the last sentence says, how far is the hang glider from the base of the cliff? So base means bottom. So think about it like that would be the bottom over here. And I'll label that X. Round to the nearest tenth of a meter. So that's going to be 1 decimal place. So if I'm solving for X, I have my opposite and I have my adjacent. So I'm going to use tangent again. cross multiply, put that over 1, then cross multiply. X tangent of 72 equals 70. Tangent of 72 is just a number, so we're going to divide both sides by the tangent of 72. And this is what you would plug into your calculator. 70 divided by tangent of 72. And if you're rounding to one decimal place, you're going to get 22.7 meters. And last one, Linda is flying a kite. So obviously the kite's going to be up there. She lets out 45 yards of strings and anchors it to the ground. So this is 45 yards because it's the little string that's holding up the kite. She determines that the angle of elevation from the ground to the top of the kite is 58 degrees. How high off the ground is the kite? So high, top, tall, that's going to be my height of the triangle. And so this time I'm going to use sine. Sine of 58, because opposite, x over hypotenuse, 45. And to solve this, I'm going to put this over 1. I'm going to cross multiply. 45 sine 58 equals x, and you can just plug that right into your calculator. It does say to round to the nearest tenth of a yard, so that's going to be 1 decimal place, and x is about 38.2 yards.